All right, guys, this will be an island update, and I will discuss basically what I've done to this point. Maybe things I'm seeing in a positive light. A few records in here look to be broken. Not many, but some. One of them is a browse record. Let's just put it that way. I made this prediction last year. If you want to review some of my island videos from last year, I did make a prediction about one particular plant in here, and it is happening. So that's good to see. I will get back on the nutrient videos. I will also do a lengthy set of videos with raising soil pH. You might be surprised at what can happen or ways to do it. Some of you probably already know what the answer is going to be to that, and that's great. I'm glad that you all have this information, but I'm going to do a much deeper dive into liming. I've kind of touched on it when I was up here in the island last year of the importance of it, but we're going to get further down the rabbit hole with liming. Okay, so let's start with the update. So first off, I have set some growth records, tonnage records, and of course browse records. What I have done to the island so far is I had one remaining 50-pound bag of synthetic fertilizer. I chose to just go ahead and dump the whole bag on this island. It had phosphorus in it, high amounts of phosphorus, high amounts of potash, and a decent level of nitrogen. It was a 12-24-24. So this is the last time the island will get any synthetic fertilizers. I will show you the bag of synthetics that I normally would talk about, and we're going to graduate this place off of synthetics, and we're going to move it into organics. You can see a lot of June bugs are flying around. If the camera's doing a good job catching it, I can see them all over the place. They're going to put grubs in here. Those big, white, beefy looking grubs is June bugs. So I'm expecting a higher grub count in here now that this place has been cleaned off, which grubs will eat roots and slow plants down. So something to think about when you're seeing a bunch of June bugs flying around in your food plot. There's going to be some grubs. But look at the progress we're making. The vetch is jumping. We have hit that stage to where now it's off and running. All I need is some good rain. Those thunderstorms I had in the video literally skirted us. We had a 1/4 inch of rain, so now that's 0.75 in about 3 weeks. That's not good as far as food plotting goes. Plants are showing signs of wilt in section 1 and a little bit in section 2. But that's just part of food plotting. All right, so here we have what I want to see, right? The protein production has begun in the soil with deer vetch. It's been in the ground long enough now that it's going to start pumping its own. And here's the prediction that I made. Last year I said the deer have figured it out. This is the 3rd year of deer vetch, and now the deer are hitting it in the first, really it's the first week of July is when I found the first browse on it. And it was like a couple of plants. They were very small, but now the browse is picking up rapidly in here as the plants begin to pump more nutrients up the plant. These leaves have really come on in size, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some really healthy deer vetch. There is one issue that has occurred out here, and I kind of can't control this, but the turkeys have come in here and caused all kinds of plant damage to this food plot. They have pulled the deer vetch out of the ground, the little small ones. So I had a pretty decent crop of vetch growing here, and now it's sparsity. So I'm going to have to, I can't really just suddenly put a bunch of vetch in here and expect it to grow and do fine. It's too late. So I'm just going to let it go as is right now. I could throw buckwheat in here. I mean, that is something I could do, but that's about the only plant that I would attempt. Or you could put a sunflower or two in here, knowing that it probably won't reach maturity, which is fine. The intent is to browse it, and while it's growing, give me some deeper roots. But in this case, we do have some other records that have been broken, and some of it I'm really happy to see. So for instance, right here is a cowpea or a mung bean with record leaf sizes up here. Finally, we have something performing. And there is a massive rock. I don't know how. And a snake. Little bitty guy. Pretty cool. That's definitely worth the trip out of here. I don't know how in the world I missed that rock. All right, so we'll send him on his way. It's a big root zone that's going to be opened up. Okay, so we were talking about new sizes here. So there is beginning signs of hope as I start addressing more and more nutrients in here. Remember, I needed 40 pounds of phosphorus. Well, that synthetic did have phosphorus in it. It's just not the version I really like, but I would have just found a place to ditch the bag and we're done with it. Also, the soybean up here got destroyed. There are a few plants here. They've been browsed and re-leafed, but in general, they're getting hit faster than they can leaf out. This is a sign of poor soil for the most part. If these plants had stronger nutrition, they'd be growing much faster. So it looks pretty void of growth. But there are other areas that are starting to come on now, which is a good sign for me. Last year, this whole back half had horrible vetch in it. I mean, it still is bad, don't get me wrong, but we have vetch now that is showing much better signs it wants to grow. So you're probably going to see a jump in deer vetch sizes back here. And I think even here, yeah, see, this part here is really coming on now. Right? Copper treatments have helped everywhere in here. So this is more of what I want to see, is plants this size or bigger in the island. So we have other places now that are jumping on this bandwagon. So I'm slowly building up the nutrients here. Even back here. Now this area here was just as bad as the back half. But now I have vetch that is beginning to grow. This has not hit the takeoff stage because this is a second wave of vetch sowing. Same with this out here. So another 7 to 10 days and hopefully a good rain. This will take off and look way different in that time span. So the places that came up early, some of it was volunteer seed, are doing the best. Length of time for deer vetch can be a pain sometimes in these poor soil plots. It just looks really ratty until it takes off. So beans, sorghums, you can see The sorghums looked horrible the last time you saw them, and they have beefed up in size quite a bit, but that is nowhere near a healthy plant. I think once the rain can really get in here and help, if we need about 2 to 3 inches of rain at this point, more toward 3 than 2. If we can get something like that up here, a lot of these plants here are going to take off. They're just literally needing rain. Even the clover that I left behind is dying. It's just getting hot and dry. Really hot and dry. We've been in the upper 90s for several weeks. Oh, well, off and on for several weeks. If we're not in the upper 90s, we're in the low 90s. And it's just been drying us out. And this soil is not ready to handle drought situations yet. So these plants are going to suffer until this soil is improved enough to where drought resistance is booming. And now with the copper, I've done one phase of this to help boost drought resistance. But there's other minerals that I need to put in here that I haven't even touched yet that will help escalate that even faster. It's just, I'm doing this on a budget, so you'll have to be patient with me. I just can't afford to keep dumping stuff in here right now. It's a much better budget than where it was at, I can tell you that though. All right, so over here, way back at planting day, I told you my strategy, because this area is so dark, is once I approached this area from here back, I did a very heavy sow of deer vetch. I did throw some milo in here, just hoping to get some bigger, deeper roots. And it's probably not going to do that well. I kind of knew it wouldn't, but you never know. I mean, one day this will grow. But we do have our first signs here. New growth records. As sad as this is to say, we have new vetch growth records. This is actually 8 to 10 times taller than last year's vetch. That's pretty pathetic to report something like that, but that is making me happy, because now we have vetch popping up all the way back to this tree. Last year, it was about an inch tall, and it didn't get much bigger than that, and 80% of it died. Well, now we're getting growth. I've seen very little kill off. I'm sure some of the turkeys have. There was a patch or two. I think some of the turkeys might have done some damage here. Most of it's out this way. So now the island is improving. And remember, I'm working on much poorer pH levels up here than I am the main plot. So once this pH starts getting adjusted here, we're going to open up the pipe in here and get these guys to pump. So I think what I'll do, as far as planning for the future, I want to do all the liming in here first, and or other improvements that I think are needed. I would love to have this plot working in tandem with the main plot. And eventually, if these plants can grow tall and thick enough, I guarantee you're going to find fawns bedded in here, because that fawn, at least one of them is right down there. I see this doe all the time come from right down there. So that fawn is literally right over there in that thicket. And I've only caught it on camera once, which is good. I've caught it on camera, but I would like to see a few more. Our big baby-faced doe has been non-existent now for 3 or 4 weeks. So she's either something's happened to her bad, or she's set up shop over here on this side, which they often rotate back and forth. So we'll wait and see. She'll probably show back up before it's over with. But this is where we're at. The island has improved, as bad as this looks. And also, I'd like to note, the soybean is now growing over here. Last year, I couldn't really get that to happen. And now we have some scrawny looking soybean. And it showed a little bit of bulk up right there. So there is hope for soybean this far over. If it's growing now, under these poor conditions, it will grow under great nutrient conditions. So the fact that I'm seeing signs that this is not dying, it's actually slowly getting thicker and bigger leafed. Not, I mean, heck, that's not huge leaves, right? But they are getting bigger. So this reports mostly good news. I mean, there is some bad, but I like where I'm heading with this. And just be patient with me because it will take time. This is like I don't want to count year 1 because it was just everything. Fall, winter, summer, spring, it all failed. So there was no nutrients being pumped in here. I officially started last year as my first official mat. Now this is mat number 2, which is still ugly, but it is the second wave of rot that I've put on here. So let's see what happens by year 4 or 5. I think this place will start being 4 to 5 times easily more productive than what you're seeing now. Probably end up being 100 times more. But the goal here is to get nutrition for these deer. I've got to keep raising the bar. So if you have ugly ground like this, do not stop improving. Keep digging, keep going, and eventually this will happen. Now, with my limitation with trees, I would highly recommend removing more trees in here. There needs to be at least 10 trees removed. I would love to have actually even 12 trees removed. And that would drastically change the outlook of this place. So if you're wanting a faster pace in improvements, remove the big trees. They are killing progress in the soil as long as they're alive. And some of these stumps in here, like this one, are not dead, and it's going to continue to rob nutrients. And that stump is on the list to be burned. I want to get rid of it completely. And that will open the door on this backside for better growth and a little bit better light. All right, guys, so that's the end of the island update. Progression, that's the theme of this one. Have a good one.